Ever feel like you're just, drowning in text? Trying to pull out that one key bit of information from a massive document, maybe like a really long customer support chat.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge pain point, especially for support agents. They need the crucial details fast, but wading through everything, it's tough.
Takes forever, right?
Yeah,
And you worry you'll miss something critical.
exactly. Which is why using LLMs, large language models, to summarize these conversations seems like such a good idea.
Yeah, instant summaries pointing out the core issues. We've been looking into this project, the Transcript Summarizer service. That's designed to do just that.
Right, it's a Python microservice. Its whole job is taking those long, rambling transcripts and using an LLM to boil them down into something useful.
Giving agents back their time, improving the support customers get. Makes sense.
Hmm.
But building something like this, well, you need to tell the LLM exactly what to do. And that's where it got interesting here, didn't it, with prompt optimization.
Yes, precisely. We saw how using a specific tool to refine the instructions, the prompt given to the LLM, made a huge difference in developing the service. It's like tuning the requests.
Okay, so fine-tuning the instructions for the AI.
Pretty much. And for you, listening, if you're interested in getting knowledge quickly, understanding things efficiently, this deep dive has some really practical takeaways. It's about how tweaking your requests to AI can unlock much better results.
Okay, let's dive in then. The starting point was needing this summarization service. So the team wrote an initial prompt, a request for a design spec. What did that first attempt look like?
Well, that first prompt, it was actually pretty decent. It was described as moderately skilled. It laid out the main objective, build this Python microservice, the transcript summarizer service.
Okay.
And it outlined the core function. You give it a transcript and a summary type, like a brief overview, key issues, or full detail.
Yeah, different summary flavors, basically.
Exactly. And it specified using a powerful LLM for the summarizing part. It also detailed the output format it needed, JSON, with the transcripted, the requested summary type, the actual summary text, and importantly, a confidence score.
A confidence score. Interesting. To show how reliable the summary might be.
That's the idea. But it wasn't just about what it should do functionally.
Right. There's always the other stuff, the non-functional requirement.
Mm-hmm. The initial prompt covered those too, like how to handle really long transcripts, ones maybe too big for the LLM's input window, performance goals, error handling for things like the LLM API failing, or bad input.
Standard operational concerns.
Yeah, and also making sure it was maintainable and testable down the line. It even mentioned the target audience for the design doc itself, tech leads, senior devs.
So honestly, that sounds like a pretty thorough first pass. Why bring in a prompt optimizer tool then?
Well, even a good starting point can often be improved, right? Especially when you're instructing an AI. The whole point of a prompt optimizer is to take a prompt, like that one, and enhance it. Make it clearer, more concise, use more precise language. Basically, to make it as easy as possible for the LLM to understand exactly what's needed and deliver the best possible output. In this case, that output was the detailed design specification.
It's like getting an editor, but specifically for your AI instructions.
That's a great way to put it. So this optimizer tool was run on that initial request for the transcript summarizer service. The aim was to see if it could make that prompt even better, more structured, less ambiguous for the LLM that would generate the architecture plan.
And what did it actually change? How did the optimized prompt look different?
The changes were mostly about structure and clarity. Big difference. The optimized version used clear markdown headings. So objective was a bold heading, not just part of a paragraph. Same for core functionality output, non-functional requirements, NFRs.
Okay. Breaking it down visually.
Exactly. Even target audience and task got their own headings. It makes it instantly scannable, much easier for anyone, human or AI, to parse.
Yeah, I can see that. Makes it less like a wall of text.
Definitely. And under core functionality, those different summary type options, they were put into a clean, numbered bullet list. Brief overview, key issues, full detailed, just clearly itemized.
Instead of being buried in a sentence.
Yeah.
Much clearer.
Right. And the language itself got tightened up, more direct. Instead of something wishy-washy, it used strong verbs like the service must accept. Leaves less room for interpretation.
More imperative.
Precisely. And crucially, the optimizer didn't lose any information from the original. It just repackaged it, clarified it, structured it using that simple markdown formatting headings, lists, making it much more effective guidance for the LLM.
So this clearer, better structured prompt was then fed to the LLM to actually generate the architectural blueprint. What was the impact? What did that blueprint look like?
The impact was pretty dramatic. The blueprint generated from the optimized prompt was significantly more detailed, much better organized. Right away, it had a system overview section stating it's an asynchronous Python microservice.
Asynchronous makes sense for potentially long-running summaries. You don't want requests timing out.
Exactly. Then a high-level architecture section. It even had a little diagram sketch showing the main pieces. API gateway, the service itself, the LLM provider, a message queue for the async stuff, a database. Gives you that bird's eye view immediately.
That high-level picture is so useful up front.
Isn't it? And it helps the LLM too, likely giving it context. Makes you think, maybe structuring my own research requests like that could help. Anyway, it then had a component breakdown.
Okay, drilling down.
Yeah, identifying the layers.
Yeah.
API layer, core service layer, LLM integration layer, data persistence, asynchronous processing, just good, clean software design principles being laid out.
Separation of concerns.
Classic. Absolutely. And then it went even deeper with detailed component design. It started suggesting actual classes, methods, like API endpoints, summarize, status, a transcript processor in the core layer.
Which I guess cleans up the transcript, maybe splits it if it's too long.
Precisely that. And an LLM client with methods like summarize and combine summaries, a database client too. It even called out key design choices, like using synchronous processing for short transcripts for speed, but switching to asynchronous via the message queue for longer ones.
So it wasn't just abstract layers, it was getting into the practical implementation details, guided by that clearer prompt.
That's exactly it. The prompt's clarity directly led to this level of detail. It covered error handling, too, using try.except blocks, updating status in the database on failure.
Right.
It elaborated on that transcript processor, mentioning cleaning the text, chunking long transcripts, and critically, adding context overlap between chunks.
Yeah, that's vital. So the LLM doesn't lose the plot when stitching summaries together.
You got it. The blueprint also detailed this LLM client's job. Building the right prompts for the LLM based on the requested summary type, handling responses, calculating that confidence score we mentioned.
Okay.
And the database client's role in storing summaries and statuses was clearly defined. It didn't stop at the code either. It touched on deployment and infrastructure, suggesting Docker Compose for consistency, configuration management.
Wow, really thinking end to end.
And error handling and resilience, talking about specific strategies like exception hierarchies, retry logic for LLM calls, maybe even a circuit breaker pattern.
Building robustness in from the start.
Yeah, it showed a real focus on building something dependable. Then there was a testing strategy unit, integration load testing with examples for each, a phase implementation plan with milestones, even nods to security considerations and monitoring and observability like logging and metrics.
That is incredibly thorough. It really sounds like the optimized prompt acted as a significantly better roadmap for the LLM, leading to this much more comprehensive and, frankly, usable plan.
That's the core finding, absolutely. And they actually measured this. They compared the outputs from the original prompt versus the optimized one.
Oh, okay. What did they find?
The blueprint generated from the optimized prompt scored much higher across the board on clarity, structure, relevance to the task, language precision, and just the overall usability of the design doc.
So not just a feeling, but measurable improvements.
Exactly. The evaluation confirmed it. The optimized prompt resulted in a better process and a significantly better architectural blueprint.
Yeah.
The structured instructions just guided the LLM much more effectively.
So the big takeaway here really is about the power of the prompt. Investing that bit of effort up front to structure and clarify your request, especially for something complex like designing a service,
Pays off hugely in the quality of what the AI gives you back.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The optimized prompt clearly guided the LLM to produce this comprehensive, actionable blueprint for the transcript summarizer service, covering not just the basics, but scalability, reliability, maintainability too. And for you, listening, hoping to get insights quickly, this really drives home how using tools or even just the principles to refine how you ask for information can make a massive difference. Clear communication, even with AI, unlocks better results.
It definitely makes you wonder, doesn't it? How could you apply this idea of prompt optimization or just clearer, more structured requests in your own work, whether you're searching for info or delegating tasks to an AI? Something to think about, the power of structured communication.